Welcome back to the FanSpeak Network. And today's an exciting day because we're doing a bonus episode of Sibling Showdown, though today it is just me. And we are talking about the two new contests on Underdog, and we are going to draft the sprint. That is right. Today is a bonus episode of Sibling Showdown because we were so excited about the new contest that Underdog released. Obviously, Underdog just keeps bringing it with, the better payouts in BBM and, single entry and 3 max contests and listening to us about these different style tournaments. And so they released 2 new contests, and I'm going to bring it up over on Twitter to show the breakdown of it. But it is the marathon, which is a season-long contest, and the sprint, which is going to be the same type of contest that we do where we advance 2 out of 12 in a pod, but then it's cumulative points weeks 15 through 17. And that was the one I was really hoping for. And so that is the one that I am really, really excited to see. So let me bring over the payout structure for that and just talk about it just a little bit more and what I'm looking at in particular. So let me bring that over. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So yeah, we can see that. So let's go to Underdog Drafts and check out the sprint. It is $50 to enter, 1 million in total prizes. And, it is 100K to first, but again, it's a very, very, very flat payout structure. I love that. But the best part, again, about it is you don't have to worry if you have had stress with pod luck. There's no pod luck. There's no worrying about just week 17 or which week 16 or 17 matter. They all matter. 15, 16, 17, they all matter. So that's why I love the sprint, because I did have some bad pod luck last year, and I did have some teams with some beautiful Dallas and Detroit stacks and some Jordan Love and Jaden Reed and Lamar and all those things that did not see the rest of the playoffs because they just couldn't get through week 15. So this is exactly what I want. We got Tyler in chat. I did a show with Tyler a couple weeks ago, Friends of Best Ball. It was great to have him on, and good to see you in here, Tyler. I just absolutely love this contest, and hopefully you do too. So yeah, that's the sprint. And then the marathon is season long, cumulative, 1 through 17. So we're going to be doing videos for show live drafts for both of these types of tournaments. But today I was just so excited. I wanted to talk about some of my strategies for the sprint, do a live sprint draft, and then we'll go from there. Each Wednesday, Steve and I's schedules just got mixed up, so he wasn't able to join me tonight. But each Wednesday, we'll do a weekly Wednesday Sibling Showdown BBM. But we'll do some additional Sibling Showdowns each week of these bonus Sibling Showdowns with either the sprint or the marathon, because we both want to get action down on that, and we think it's really, really fun. So one thing I'm going to pull over now before we get into the sprint is actually I should probably check and see how long it is to get into the sprint, because that might take longer to load. So why don't we bring over Underdog actually, and then I can discuss some of my, so let me get into a draft, because I'm a little nervous. It could take a little bit longer to load. So if you want to get in with me on this draft, yeah, we're waiting for 8 people. So I figured that might be the case. So because we're waiting for 8 people, if you want to jump in with me, jump in with me. While we're waiting for 8 people, now 7, I'm going to talk about some of my strategies for the sprint. So I was making notes earlier today, and, basically the way I'm handling the sprint is basically the same things I do, is because I'm so focused on advance rate. My focus I had 25% advance rate 2 years ago. Last year, I had a 27% advance rate. I want to keep focusing on advance rate. And I think that's going to be good for the BBM and the regular contests, because for my total ROI, because that's what I care about. And I want to have as many playoff appearances as possible. But I'm focusing on having the best advance rate possible. And doing that is obviously all the pieces that go into it. It's your lineup construction. It's obviously, of course, your player takes, which we've been writing about a little bit of that. It's watching bye weeks. It's team correlation. It's all the same things to just be cognizant and careful about, to do anything that I can to build a balanced, solid roster, stacking the right teams so that I have the best chance for advance rate. That's number one. So for this, it's a lot of the same things, but I'm really going to focus, obviously, because we're not worrying about a particular week of 15, 16, or 17, I'm going to really, really focus highly on team level correlation. And that's just stacking up good teams. And I'm going to write about an article about that next week on fanspeak.com, my 10 favorite teams that I'm looking to stack up. Some of them are just going to be offenses that I think are going to finish in the top 5. Some of them are going to be undervalued offenses like the Texans last year that people are undervaluing this year. By the way, I think it's the Titans this year. But so it's going to be looking for the top offenses and looking to stack them up the most efficient way possible. So team level correlation on the top offenses or offenses that I think are going to be undervalued. So those are the kind of what I'm going to do a little more. I'm going to do what I usually do for BBM and all the regular tournaments on Underdog, but I'm going to focus on that team level correlation even more. And then I'm going to target especially the teams that I think are good offenses that have also good playoff schedules. That doesn't mean that the offenses that don't have as good a playoff schedule, like the Bills are a great offense, but their playoff schedule isn't as great as, say, like the 49ers or the Lions, right? That doesn't mean I'm going to totally fade the Bills in a structure like this. It just means, let's see, we're still waiting on 6. It just means that I might weight teams like the 49ers just a little bit higher in this because I want that whole picture. But I also think, and I'm going to write about this next week on Fanspeak too. Again, all articles are free on Fanspeak, though. If you want to use get Ultimate GM subscription, it's just $19.95 for the whole entire year. One whole year, it's ads free, so you get no ads. And then we are adding a bunch of best ball features behind the paywall in June. So something to keep in mind. But I will have 2 articles next week. 1, top offenses I'm targeting. 2, what offenses might pair well together. You know, a lot of people talk about how the Dolphins have a gross week 17 game in Cleveland. Well, guess what? They have a great week 15 and week 16 game environment. Let me actually see while we're waiting on 6 if I can bring those articles over quickly, because they're articles that I made charts for each of them and everything, and I think they're of value. And as you can see here, bringing up the Best Ball headquarters page, I've got it broken down onto, well, Steve's rankings are up right now. We've got player takes, we've got strategy, best ball bye weeks, best ball playoffs. So check it all out. It's all free. And as you can see, it's not littered with ads because I have the ads-free version besides just these weird native ads on the side. So anyways, so I'm going to go take a look at a couple of my charts. So again, we're still waiting for 6 people. And I had done a chart first on the weather dome implications, right? So, you know, I marked it green if it's indoors in a dome and yellow if it's in California or Florida, because that's all I can know. I can't really play weather girl, you know, 6-7 months in advance here. But I do know the dome is going to be a great environment, and likely outside of pouring monsoon rain, California and Florida are going to be a good environment. So, sorry, I got out of that. I apologize. Hold on one second. It opened the wrong thing. Let's just give me a minute here. I was sharing the wrong screen because it opened in a different file. So yes, let me open this. So here's the weather and dome article. And again, green, dome, yellow, California, Florida. So, you know, some of these teams, as you can see, have 2 games in good environments, like the Falcons, Texans. Some have all 3, like Jacksonville, 49ers, Tampa Bay, actually. Obviously, Vegas is all indoors. So, you know, these are things to keep in mind, but check out these charts. And again, I did the same thing then for team totals. So I did anything over a 47 team total, I put in green, and anything over like a 45.5, I believe I put in yellow. Again, it's hard to project team totals because a lot of that's going to be based on injury, but it's an early look at team totals and something to keep in mind. And I think some of it would surprise you. So again, I'm looking for those teams. I'm looking for the top offenses, but then I'm really want to focus on the top offenses that have a great entire playoff picture. And if they don't have an entire perfectly playoff picture, like the Dolphins, for example, let's take a look at the Dolphins schedule just to give you an example here. So Miami plays at Houston. Great. Good. That's going to be a high total, back and forth potential shootout indoors. San Francisco in Miami. Great. Same exact thing in Florida. And then at Cleveland. So that's not as obviously desirable to people. But guess what? maybe we stack up the Dolphins with another team that we see in green and yellow for, good game environments, both like weather potential, both high totals that could have that potential back and forth shootout where they're pushed. And we stack them up with a team that does have a good in-game environment, like the 49ers or Tampa Bay or Tennessee or Detroit, who, by the way, I love all those teams and are probably going to be in my list. So those are kind of the things that I'm just going extra considering on. Same basic principle that I do for all the regular best ball contests, just way more focus on team level correlation, way more focus on the playoff schedule as a whole. And then let me see, the last thing I wanted to mention is this will shock some people is I'm actually going to be more interested. I am known as like the 3 quarterback girl. I love doing 3 quarterback builds. Why do I love doing it on BBM, especially because it's a lotto and you have to be 1 of 16 to get to the finals, 1 of 13 this year in the semi or quarters, 1 of 16 in the semis to get to the finals. And by the way, again, we said hi to Tyler and Frankie. Hello, let's go, Meg. It's good to see you here. Hopefully we'll be getting started soon. We were still waiting on 6 in the sprint, and I'm glad I got in early so we can hopefully get that going. But and no, I do have a couple more thoughts, and that this will give us time. But basically, in BBM, because it's such a lotto to be 1 of 13, 1 of 16, or some of the other tournaments, that I like to have 3 quarterback stacks for multiple reasons. Yes, protects for injuries and floor weeks throughout the season and that kind of stuff, and can ping pong to get me to the top 2 in the pod. But I really do it the most because it gives 3 stack options in the playoffs to have that top stack to help push me through. Because let's be honest, you probably want that top quarterback stack. And let's be honest, it's not always the quarterbacks you think. It certainly hasn't been in past playoff years and weeks. And last year, for example, I believe week 15, the top scoring quarterbacks were, I believe, Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff. So if having 3 quarterback builds would give you just another option to have that potential option. I think week 16, I can't remember who it was, but I know Purdy was one of them too. So again, right now Purdy's going more like a quarterback too, but you get my point. I like having 3 stack options to just push me through to playoffs. Because again, I can't tell you, it is a bummer when you see good teams just sitting at home because they didn't get pushed through out of the quarterfinals, or they didn't get pushed through out of the semis, but they could have done well in the finals. So that's why. But with this and the cumulative scoring nature of the points in the sprint, I will lean, and if Andrew's listening, this will shock the hell out of him because we joke about the 2 quarterback versus 3 quarterback thing. I will lean a little bit more into the 2 elite quarterbacks, or like a quarterback, let's say in the first, 5 rounds, and then maybe like somewhere in 9-10 rounds, 9 through 12 or something like that. Because there's, the quarterback prices have fallen, and you can get some elite quarterbacks obviously in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. And then you can, in my opinion, still get some really elite quarterbacks in that like 9th through 12th round. So I may do more of that in the sprint. And that's the only kind of difference from how I play BBM and those kind of tournaments. So those are a couple of the things that I'm going to keep in mind. And again, is going to be different from how I do. A lot of things are going to be the same. The other thing, again, with team level correlation, looking for teams that pair well together, also look for teams and these charts help that might, duplicate playing each other. If you're stacking up like 3 teams, let's say, maybe, okay, San Francisco is one of my favorite teams that is an elite offense that has a great playoff schedule. Maybe you stack up. I'm going to see if there's overlap between San Francisco, Rams, Miami, Detroit, because like if you have a couple cross that are playing, one's playing week 15 and one's playing week 17, then you're kind of getting double the game stacks. So, and I know there are teams that like that. I threw out San Francisco as my favorite team, and then you'd have to look at the teams. And that's why I want to look at the teams that truly do pair well together on multiple levels. Obviously, A, for bye weeks, B, for how they might pair well together, and who has great like week 15, 16 matchups, who has week 17, or who has good 15, but not as good 16, 17, and who might pair well together there. You also may want to look for teams that like kind of play each other, and you can stack, get some stacks of like 3 or 4 teams that kind of play each other. I want to say the NFC North has some like overlapping situations there. So that's another thing to consider. Unfortunately, we are still waiting for 6 people. I will bring it back over to Underdog so we can look at the rankings for this and see if we're seeing anything very different in this per the regular, because I haven't really honestly had a chance to go through that yet. So let's pull over rankings and look for rankings because now you got the 2024 season, you've got the eliminator, weekly winners, marathon, and sprint. So we're looking at the sprint rankings. And I mean, I believe it's going to be a lot of the same. I don't think there's going to be anything massively that stands out differently. I was going to see if quarterbacks are kind of ranked similarly. It appears they are. So yeah, again, for me, the quarterback is the one position where I am going to maybe weight it a little higher in this than I typically do. And I wouldn't be surprised if others do too. So it'll be interesting to see ADP shift and change throughout this. So yeah, let's go back. It looks like we're now waiting for 5 people. So we're getting there. If you are in the chat, want to join, we just need 5 more to get this one going because it's a new contest and a $50 buy-in. I think that's why it's obviously taking a little bit longer to fill. So thank you for being patient with me. We've got Fantasy Football Garage in here. So yeah, it's a new contest and new strategies. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. And that's what's so fun is trying to figure out, and that's what's so fun about best ball, right? Is it's such a new, I mean, I know best ball has been a while, but this is only the 5th year of Underdog and the massive tournaments and everything. And so, we're still learning. It's not like anything we have is gospel. We're still taking all the data in and trying to parse through and make our best decisions. And that's why some of us have different even takes on the data that we do have and how we want to handle it and utilize it and what strategies we want to lean into. So that's what's so great about best ball is you can, because it's, a new format on like Underdog, for example, this is the 5th year that we you can lean into different strategies and we can both have success. We can both have high advance rates. We can both meet in the finals, all those wonderful, great things. So I love that about Underdog and best ball, but I also love that we can have these new contests and then try to figure them out. Right. And that's where, as we know, with DFS, I feel like the edge isn't what I had in 2013 and 14 and 15 when I first started playing, and there wasn't as much content for it and there wasn't as much tools for it. And people were still trying to kind of figure it out. And I definitely felt like I did have a better edge back then. So, I kind of feel like that's where we are now with best ball. And then now you layer on, they're adding these new contests, which allows you to new contests, new strategies, as Fantasy Football Garage says. That's really cool. And that's really fun. And I do think that gives you an edge if you're willing to put in the work and figure out what are the appropriate strategies for this. So I kind of, went in and leaned into like what my favorite strategies are. We have Network Academy Sports Club in chat, driving but listening, always great info. Appreciate hearing that. This would be a good time to also say, if you are not driving, be sure to like this episode and make sure you're subscribed to the FanSpeak Network, share with others, because we're doing 4 live drafts every week. So Tuesday, DraftKings, Wednesday, Steve and I, Sibling Showdown. Thursday night, you have Andrew and Justin. They did a great show last night. Check it out. They go through like a topic and then do a live draft. All these are all BBM. And then Friday, Friends of Best Ball at 8:15. I could be pushing it here. I will have Pat from the Fantasy Dog Pound on. So very excited about that. Hopefully we can fill this puppy soon and so that I can get this draft in. And then I'll be on with Pat at 8:15 tonight for Friends of Best Ball. So every Friday, time changes, obviously, depending on the guest. We will have Friends of Best Ball with fun guests with people around the industry. Also coming are going to be once a month. We're going to be doing some fun live streams. More on that later too. So we've got a lot of fun stuff at FanSpeak, a lot of fun content here on FanSpeak Network, and of course, content on fanspeak.com. All free. Again, if you want to get a subscription, it allows you to have an ads-free experience. And that's under Ultimate GM ad on the homepage ads-free experience, and we will be putting some fun best ball features behind that. So be sure to check that out. If you are in chat and have any questions specifically about this tournament, as we're waiting for 4 people to fill this so we can get this sprint started. It's funny that it's called the sprint, and it's a bit slow waiting for it to get started, but that's okay. If you have any questions, let me know. But yeah, I'm kind of looking at the playoff schedule now. I won't keep toggling screens on you, but some of what I wrote about were, if you look at the teams that have at least 2 good game environments, meaning 2 games either in a dome or California or Florida, it's actually a lot. I believe it's 14 teams or something like that. So you have the Cardinals, Falcons, Lions, Texans, Jaguars, Chargers, Rams, Raiders, Dolphins, Vikings, Saints, 49ers, Bucks, and Titans all have at least 2 of the 3 playoff games in a good weather or dome environment. That's pretty nice. So that's number 1. But then I look at those teams and, okay, what are my, again, and I'm going to write about this next week about why these are my favorite offenses or undervalued offenses. But what are these teams that I just named that have a good game environment also are an offense that I think is, one that I really want to target? And I wrote in this article, Falcons, Lions, Texans, Jaguars, Rams, 49ers, Bucks, and Titans are ones that stand out to me as good offenses, good game environments in 2 out of 3 of the weeks. So check. And actually, I'm not sure why I didn't have Dolphins. I must have missed Dolphins on the list because they have, again, 2 good weeks of game environments, and I obviously like them too. So those are the offenses that I like that have a good weather situation. My 3 favorite are the Falcons, Texans, and 49ers. And then on this particular article, if I go over to the new article where you look at high totals, and again, chart, I did anything over 47, I did in green. A couple teams that have all totals over 47. Again, this is 6 months in advance. I know that's very far away, but Detroit, they play Buffalo, at Chicago, at 49ers. Kind of surprised me that Chicago was set at 47, but it is, I guess, because Chicago is going to be a better offense this year, most likely. But green or yellow, meaning above 46 or above for all 3 of their games. Let's see, we've got Detroit, Texans, and they've got Miami, KC, Baltimore, all 3. Rams, they've got 49ers, Jets, Cardinals, and let's see, looking for all 3. San Francisco, 49ers, of course. So good game, good weather environment and high totals. They have the Rams, Dolphins, Lions. But there's plenty that have at least 2 of their weeks with high projected totals. So that is something to consider too. So it's not one puzzle piece that you're looking at for this, for anything in best ball, right? But it's not one puzzle piece that you're looking at as gospel. It's kind of just looking at all of them and putting them together to make your decision on what teams you want to stack. And, every draft's going to be different. You're not going to force a 49ers stack in every single draft. You're not going to be able to get a 49ers stack in every single draft. But, you just want to keep in mind when these teams do become accessible to you in a draft, that these might be the teams that you're going to lean heavier into. And so for me, off the top of my head, when I combine, okay, I love these offenses and I love their game environments in the playoffs, be it weather or high totals and potential shootouts, I'm looking at teams like the Lions, the Texans, the Rams, the 49ers, the Dolphins to some extent, Tennessee. Let's see. Jets have a couple of decent totals. I don't know if their weather is elite in that regard. Bears actually have a couple games in Chicago, I believe, or at least one game. They have 2 games in Chicago, but they do have all really pretty high totals. So the Falcons. So, these are like the, handfuls of teams that when I see them become available to me, like a stack starts to become available to me, then I'm going to target it. Again, I'm not going to force it, but I'm going to target it. Looks like we're only waiting on 2 people now, which is very exciting. So hopefully we can get this started soon. And I'm excited to see what pick I get here for the first draft of the sprint. And I'm excited to also see rankings are so new. I'm sure it hasn't changed much. I pulled over the rankings, didn't see much off the top of my head or at a quick glance. But as we go through it, I know last year I believe it was weekly winners, when I did my first weekly winners draft, I was shocked at the different ADPs. And that's because, people are really reaching for different stacks and stacking up different things, whether it's stacking up bye weeks, stacking up conferences, stacking up a particular week, so I noticed there was massively different ADP as I went through more. So I'm interested to see, this is brand new. This just launched today. The sprint just launched today. So the ADP is brand new. So it'll be interesting to see in this first draft and as we go along, because again, Steve and I and all the other guys on our channel, Andrew, Justin, Spread, Tyler, I'm sure are all going to be mixing in and getting in these drafts with me or with each other to do some drafts outside of BBM and do some of these sprint and marathon drafts too, and want to get action down. In fact, I know Tyler and Spread, I just saw it as I was getting ready for this show. I believe, I don't know what day off the top of my head, but I believe Monday or Tuesday are going to be doing a weekly winners show. They want to cover weekly winners and eliminator. I want to focus on these two. I want to focus on marathon and sprint, outside of course, the BBM and the other drafts that Underdog offers. I want to focus on marathon and sprint. Some of the other guys on our channel might give a lot more live drafts and information and strategies about weekly winners and the eliminator. So that's what's fun is, and those two I want to just kind of learn this year, and because I only dabbled last year. So I want to kind of learn from others this year on those two. But this one, I think, plays to my strengths a little bit more because I have had good advance rate the last 2 years. And hopefully that sticks this year, both in regular contests and the sprint. And if I have a good advance rate and then it's optimized for the playoffs and what I think is the right way with this team level correlation and focusing on teams with good playoff schedules, then hopefully this gives me the best chance to have some success. So I'm excited. Need to take a quick break there. Okay, so we're still waiting on two people here. Let's see here. I think I covered most of the topics. Again, if you are in chat and have any thoughts or questions about this, please, feel free to drop it in. And now we're down to one person, so that's exciting. And again, if you want to join your first sprint draft, or maybe you've already done a sprint draft and want to join your first sprint live draft, get in with us. We only need one more person before this thing goes live, so that is very exciting. I'm just really, really excited to see what this holds for us as far as ADP and how people handle stacking, both from team level and, the game level. Obviously, I'm guessing that week 17 won't be as prevalent, perhaps, in a BBM draft, you'll see, the Detroit, San Francisco is obviously the most popular one, right? And, or you'll see Texans, Ravens, or you'll see 49ers, Cardinals, still memorizing the schedule, by the way. So you'll see that. I wonder if we're not going to see that as much, but seeing more of this bigger team stacks, or if we're going to see people trying to get the teams that do intersect more. I think there's just going to be a lot of interesting things to look out for. Because I remember, again, when an example, new format of weekly winners last year, it was definitely different. And so, I think this isn't going to be quite as different, but I still think there could, ADP could shift some, and I'm interested to see that. I wonder in regards to ADP with quarterbacks, the prices have fallen on quarterbacks, thankfully, this year. And, but I wonder if we see them go up a little bit in this, because that was one of my first initial reactions was get that floor. Steve and I were talking we went to two people. Now we still need two people. The top three quarterbacks last year that you think of like a safe floor ceiling combo, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. They all did really provide. I think the lowest score was Josh Allen with 16 points in week 15. And then they each had games in the 20s. And then, of course, Lamar had that massive ceiling game in week 17. So, you look at a combination like that, and, them giving that floor ceiling is really big in something like this, because, in something like BBM, you score just in the high teens one week. That might not be enough to push you through if you don't have the right quarterbacks with you. But in this, that might be enough if then your other 2 weeks are massive from that quarterback. So, DA Snowman 1021 says, I'm more excited for the marathon, ready to go wild. And I'm interested to see how ADP is on the marathon. That's interesting too. I'm definitely going to be in the marathon as well. I'd always gone over to Drafters and done some, and now I'm pretty much an underdog girl. I mean, I know Drafters offers a great product too, and I know my brother is probably going to do a good bit over there, but yeah, I'm probably going to keep it mostly on Underdog because I just just love the product, love the user experience. I actually like the half point PPR better than full point PPR. I think I like the kind of touchdown hunting nature of it. That you feel like you're touchdown hunting more. The touchdowns are weighted so much in half point PPR with, and especially not DraftKings with the bonuses factored in as well. Half point PPR, you're just really touchdown hunting. So, and I think my brain works that way. Maybe because I also love anytime touchdown market in the betting market once we get in season, which then you'll have to check out the show that we do every Thursday with Spread and Tyler. So, yeah, this is, I'm definitely interested in the marathon too, for that reason. Because again, that's cumulative points 1 through 17, no playoffs, just you're focusing on getting the best score, and getting that right combo of players that obviously I think there you maybe wouldn't lean into rookies as much because you might have to wait for them to develop. You wouldn't lean into certainly injury prone guys as much because that could just bury you. So yeah, I think there are going to be different strategies for that too. I mean, I know I kind of tried to do different strategies for that in when I played on Drafters, and when I play on the marathon, I want to be very cognizant of that. You definitely need to run well as far as injuries, but you just need a solidly built team of like those guys that are just massively outperforming their ADP. A couple of years ago, I know the guy that won it, had like Josh Jacobs and Tyler Lockett, and getting these guys later that just like massively outperform their ADP. So, I think that's what you're looking for in something like the marathon, since it's total season points. And I definitely will be in the marathon streets as well. And we will definitely be doing marathon drafts on here as well. Still waiting on 2. Let me see if any of the guys I'll put out a tweet to the FanSpeak guys, see if any of them can jump in with us. They're probably not going to be able to jump in right now. But let me just check here. Thank you for bearing with me. To draft. Okay, so yeah, waiting on 2. Thank you for bearing with me. Let's see. Here we got another comment. I just had a draft with Deshaun, Daniel Jones, and McCarthy at QB. Is that core team already done? LOL. Was this for the sprint, the marathon, or Best Ball Mania? Listen, it's preseason. I can't say that any team's done or set. We don't know. And that's the beauty of best ball, is we make our best decisions preseason, and we really have no idea. But we're just trying to make our best preseason decisions. But to your point, I have recently, and I'm going to write an article about that soon too, where we did a draft on stream this Wednesday, Steve and I, where we did 1, 4, 5 late tight end build, right? And just loved how the team was set up, and then you get the tight ends later. And I felt I've done a couple of those. I mean, you want to mix up your different, diversify your different kind of strategy portfolios as well, and your different types of builds for sure. But I do like that kind of build. In that, I did get one quarterback early. We got Anthony Richardson, and then I'd done another one on my own where I got Jordan Love in that. But I did mess around with some where I waited the first 10 rounds. I just got like hammered like 6 receivers and 4 running backs. And then I dealt with quarterback and tight end. And I don't hate that either. I mean, to your point. Okay. So he said this was in the season long format. he got sniped at quarterback like 5 times. I've been there, had that. Yeah, it's happened. So that actually happened to me where I got sniped at quarterback several times in the Greyhound, which I was so excited about, the single entry, the Greyhound. And I did it like, I think the first or second night I was up, and I was in the 12th spot and I kept getting sniped on quarterback. It was driving me insane. So it happens, but for a season long format, you just need, 1 or 2 of those guys to massively outperform. The one thing I'd be a little nervous about is the rookie quarterback situations there, like McCarthy, just not knowing how long he's going to get. Because we just don't know at this point for guys like McCarthy and May, especially. But, I don't, think that, especially Deshaun and Daniel Jones, I think, they definitely have the upside there. McCarthy would be the one I'd say I'd be a little bit nervous on. But yeah, you do get sniped on quarterbacks sometimes. Frankie says he'll send an invite to the Pound, and the Pound, and he and I are doing a show, Pat, at 8:15. So hopefully we can get this draft done so he and I can start at 8:15. A little nervous about that now, but I appreciate that. So yeah, I did have a feeling this would take a while to fill based on the fact that, it was slow to start filling and the price point, but I didn't think it would take this long. No, I appreciate you guys listening, joining the chat. And again, this is just a reminder to join all of or as many live draft chats as you would like. We have live drafts 4 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and we'll be doing these bonus episodes like this for the marathon, the sprint. I know, like I said, Spread and Andrew are going to be doing either weekly winners and or eliminator next week. So, check out all these different drafts. And then we're going to be doing more strategy shows. We do shorts, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, you want to check out everything on Fanspeak. So, yeah, be sure to like and subscribe while we're waiting. And also, I'm sure everybody in here is on Underdog already. But if you're not, use code Fanspeak. You get I think it's up to a $250 deposit bonus. And if you know somebody that hasn't joined Underdog, they certainly need to, because it's just the GOAT, then be sure to tell them about, use code Fanspeak, get a deposit bonus up to $250 and a special pick offer. So that's pretty exciting. I think we are back down to 1 person. Hopefully this thing can get started soon. And then I am excited to see how this thing plays out here, waiting on bated breath here. Let's see. So hopefully we can get started in 1 minute. Any other questions about this format, or let me know in the chat, have you done any? Again, I know it just launched today and it's slow to start filling here, but have you done any of the marathon or sprint yet? We got our one friend in the chat said, the Snowman says he's more excited for the marathon, and then PTX says that he did the marathon already. So I think because that price point's a little cheaper, that's probably, but it's a much larger tournament. Because the tournament size for this one is what? I think it's total of, trying to see here, trying to multitask. I really have to give Pete Overzet credit, how he multitasks, talk to guests, and opens up different windows and everything, keeps things moving. You really appreciate it when you're trying to do it on your own, especially when you're talking on your own. So yeah, we still are down to 1 person. We think we are finally filled. This is glorious. Looks like I could maybe get on in time with my 8:15 Friends of Basketball with Pat. Let's check out the board, see what we got. I think I already recognize King of Kings in here. So I am in the 2 spot. I'll take that. Very excited about that. King of Kings, I know, has been in the chat with us before. I believe Star Kindler has been in the chat with us before. And then let me bring this down so I can make sure to see everything. I don't think that's it. But if you are in the chat, or if you are in this draft, please let me know in the chat. Frankie says, are you going to max this out? You got to see the life bankroll and to decide how much I want to divide between BBM, between marathon. And then I'm really going to focus on, I know they're going to do a puppy super flex. I'll probably do that. But hold on 1 second. Let me Oh boy, we had an issue. This is not my day here. Okay, I'm on the clock. Okay, McCaffrey was of course taken, and yeah, I've had tech issues all day, so apologize for that freak out. It looked like it was frozen. I was like, that's not a good sign. So okay, we're back. So it went Christian McCaffrey. I went Lamb. I love Dallas. So I love Dallas as a top offense. As looking at their playoff schedule, let's see their game totals. They play at Carolina. That's a lower game total. Tampa Bay at Dallas, or Tampa Bay, excuse me. Yes, at Dallas in a dome, and at Philly. Those are both high totals. So, weather game virus, they just have the one dome game and then the game in Carolina, game in Philly. So that's fine. Not like an elite playoff schedule, but I think they have a decent playoff schedule, but they are one of my favorite offenses to target. And, this gives me an opportunity right off the jump that I said I want two really, really good quarterbacks that I'm happy with. And this gives me from the very first pick, knowing that Dak would be one of the ones that I'd be considering. So that's something I like still about getting Lamb. And it went McCaffrey, Lamb, Hill, Chase, Jefferson, pretty much chalk Amon-Ra so far. So King of Kings, you got Amon-Ra. I like that. I mean, Detroit just has an awesome schedule. Every single game totals of 47 to 50 and a half. They have, I believe, they just have the one Chicago game. So they're in a dome. They're in Detroit dome, obviously at Chicago, and then at San Francisco. So then they're in California. So, I mean, if you pair Detroit with a team that's got a really good Week 16 schedule, that might be something that could really be good. Okay, so Frankie, King of Kings is you. Okay, good to know. So yeah, to answer your question about how many, I'm still trying to decide how many I do of each tournament, basically. I know I want to focus on every single entry, and 3 Max has great advance rates, like the Golden, like the Pug, like the Greyhound that I just did. I want to keep making sure I do all of those. Obviously, we're doing live drafts of every BBM. I'm going to do plenty of BBMs. I'm trying to decide, if I'm maxing how many of those, because I do want to mix in a significant amount of the sprint and the marathon as well. So, okay. Good question here by Fantasy Football Garage. Interested to see if elite tight ends go ahead of ADP. I am too. Again, the elite quarterbacks, elite tight ends, do they move up in the ADP in this one? I would not be surprised if they did. Let's see. Diddy Squad is probably taking all the young players. Alex P. Keaton, great handle name. I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. Let's see here. So, excuse me. So Diddy Squad did get Bijan. Love the Falcon stacks. Then it went Puka, Marvin Harrison. So Marvin Harrison did go earlier than he typically goes, because now he's been more going at the 1-2 turn or early second round. And then AJ Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor did the double hero running back there. Drake London, Garrett Wilson. To Star Kindler has Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, and Brandon Ayuk. So let's see what our friend Frankie does here, and then I'll go try to queue up and see what I'm going to do next. Okay, so then Saquon goes, another double hero running back. So again, I'm just kind of interested to see how people are handling this as far as stacks or construction, since this is, my first one, and probably for a lot of you, first one watching, a sprint draft, first time drafting a sprint draft maybe. So it's just interesting to see the different strategies here. So, so Frankie, King of Kings, went Amon-Ra, Devontae Adams. Love that start. Got some elite environments for the playoffs there. And then Debo to Alex P. Keaton. Yeah, I absolutely love that. So Alex P. Keaton is in the, so Alex P. Keaton is in the 5 spot, King of Kings in the 6th spot. I don't know, Star Kindler's in chat in the 10th spot. I'm in the 2nd spot. So yeah, I just noticed that you're in chat as well. You got Jefferson Debo. Love that. Okay, so coming back around to me at 23. And I'm going to queue up Mike Evans. I just really love Mike Evans as a 2nd round pick, and I like the Tampa Bay's playoff schedule. So yeah, I'm going to go Mike Evans here. Okay, so I started Lamb, Evans, and I'm up in 2 picks. kind of tempted by these Dolphins guys. I talked about how pairing them with teams that have other good playoff schedules is something to consider. So thinking about doing 0 RB and Waddle. Wow, this is the earliest I've ever seen Cup go. So that's interesting. Let me go to the new contract guy. I'm going to go Waddle here. Again, Dolphins have, if we're looking at the playoff schedule, let me bring the board back over for people. So Dolphins playoff schedule is, and then again, I'm looking at this on my chart on fanspeak.com, at Houston, 49ers in Miami, and then at Cleveland. So very high totals for the projected totals for the Houston game week 15 and the San Francisco game week 16. And of course, indoors and in Florida for those two games too. So if you compare them with a nice week 17 team, I think that's pretty nice. I don't know that I'd force Tua necessarily, but I don't mind getting access. And Tampa, I talked about them as well. Tampa, we've got at Chargers, so indoors, at Dallas, indoors, high total, and Carolina. And as we remember, if Carolina's offense is better 2 years ago, that was the big shootout that Crane won, the BBM3. So, okay, so, and then we have a new person chat, Seats 501. Can't wait to see your show with Sia start back up. Yes, I do shows on CBS Fantasy Football Today, DFS. Sia with Sia Najad. Sia's amazing. I love doing shows with him. We do DFS shows all during the football season, an early look. And sometimes I join them for their Friday show during the playoffs. I joined them for a Friday show. It was awesome too. So yes, I will be back on the Fantasy Football DFS shows, of course, this fall. And we're going to do some this summer about best ball. So I think we're going to do our first one there next week, but still working out the details. But my content is, I have content on CBS as well too. So thank you for checking out the show with Sia, and good to see you here in chat. So yeah, I love that we have definitely two people in here with me, Frankie, King of Kings, and Alex P. Keaton, which I just absolutely love that name. I'm a child of the 80s, so you sold me with Family Ties. I love it. Let's look at the board and see what is happening. I don't know why it still says the picks are not adding up, so I hope I'm not having more computer issues. But so I went Mike Evans, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle. A couple people that went, or players that went way earlier than typical ADP. First of all, I saw more double hero running back builds. We saw it from the 12 spot and the 8 spot. Thought that was interesting. And I mean, Sam Laporta went 24th overall. Cooper Kupp, same guy, or same person, 25th overall. Then I took Jalen Waddle. Then it went Devonta Smith, Devon Achane, Malik Neighbors, Michael Pittman Jr., DJ Moore, Kyron Williams, DK Metcalf. That's definitely a little earlier than he typically goes, or a lot earlier, a good bit earlier than he goes. Travis Etienne, Tank Dell. So those are earlier. Trying to see if any stacks are working. Josh Allen is our first quarterback. Oh, double elite quarterback. So here's an interesting thing of note. We talked about double elite quarterback. I talked about doing it like one in the first 5 rounds and one like 9 through 12. This person at the 12 spot, Bud Weiser, and it kind of spelled differently. Josh Allen at the 3rd and with the end of the 3rd round, and at the 3-4 turn, then Jalen Hurts. So he started Gibbs, JT, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. So it'll be interesting to see how many, I assume he's just those 2 quarterbacks. Be interested to see how many total running backs he goes with. And then I assume he'll wait on that and then start hammering receivers, but definitely a different construction there. So that's interesting to watch. These are just, yeah, this is just interesting to me. This is why I want to do my first stream of the sprint my first sprint draft on stream. And this is super interesting. Then more tight ends to who's ever point talked about Fantasy Football Garage. Again, good to see you too. Interested to see if lead tight ends go ahead of format. Laporta did. And then we had Travis Kelce at 38, Trey McBride at 39, kind of early 4th round back-to-back. And then Henry, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Josh Jacobs. So let's see here. So Kings just got Josh Jacobs. I like Josh Jacobs a lot, especially as a 4th-round pick. I know that's a debate in the fantasy, in the best ball space, but I love the Packers. If you're trying to stack up good teams, I love the Packers and getting access to just a great team. And then Dalton Kincaid, that's another early tight end. So the answer to the question is yes, elite tight ends are definitely going ahead of ADP. Okay, so I'm up in 1. I'm kind of tempted because I'm back to back to maybe do like Pacheco just went to do like a Patrick Mahomes and one of his receivers. But let me see if what bye week he has versus Dak, because I would love to get the 2 of them. That would be a great combo for me, I think. Yeah, I'm going to do it. So then obviously it's a little tad bit of a reach, but I'm going to take either Hollywood or Worthy a little bit ahead of ADP here. So it went Mahomes, Stroud, Richardson. So I'm going to go with the vet and take Hollywood Brown. So I have Patrick Mahomes, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Hollywood Brown. So this is obviously going to be a 0 RB team, and I'll need to hammer our running backs then later. I'm obviously, stacking the Chiefs. And let's look at their playoff schedule and see if there's any intersections. So they're at Cleveland, Houston, in Kansas City, and at Pittsburgh. They don't have the highest game totals or the best game environments, but it's the Chiefs. It's an elite offense that I want to get access to. So that's why I went with that decision. And, then I have optionality with, let's see, my stacking options. If I still want to get a really strong quarterback with, let's see. Well, no, I couldn't do Tua because I don't believe in the same bye week if I'm only taking 2 quarterbacks. So I couldn't do Tua, but I could do Dak because Dallas is week 7, Miami's week 6. So, okay. So let's again take a look at the board. I took Mahomes, then it went Stroud, Anthony Richardson. So another person on each end did back-to-back quarterbacks, which I think is really interesting, and just got 2 elite quarterbacks. Not surprised about that strategy in this format. Then I came back and got Hollywood Brown. Then it went George Pickens, Mari Cooper, Christian Kirk, Jaden Reed, Terry McLaurin. Another, honestly, strategy for this, just like weekly winners, is you could still try to stack and correlate, but really try to take falling value because, I was guilty of reaching for Hollywood Brown because some people will reach. You will probably get some falling value. Diddy's squad's got a nice, still got Lamar Andrews here at the 4-5, like towards the end of 4-5. So that's really nice. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Okay, let's see. Team 12 has turned this into 11-team pod. Thank you. Like, I see what else Team 12 is doing here. They haven't taken a receiver yet. So yeah, they're going to be thin at receiver. I wouldn't be surprised if they did like 9 or 10 receivers or something, right? What's Marvin Harrison's ADP? Usually in BBM, it's been right after the 1-2 turn. I believe it's been like around 14 or something, usually going at the early 2nd round. And here he went 10. So definitely earlier. So I'm with you. I'd take a second quarterback a bit earlier, but the Allen Hurts is gone, makes it hard for them, but it's going to make it hard for them to catch up at wide receiver. And that's why Alex Keaton says Team 12 has turned this into 11-team pod. So again, yeah, only 2 of us advance out of this. So yeah, anytime we see anybody kind of make mistakes, you kind of celebrate because you think, well, maybe that gives me a better chance. Because again, I'm focused on advanced rate. I'm focused on that, honestly, in all the regular underdog contests, including BBM, but certainly focus on that as well because I can build out beautiful team stacks and playoff correlations and, playoff schedules that I love for teams and all that good stuff. But if it doesn't make the playoffs, it doesn't mean crap. So, you got to focus on advance rate for this. But definitely seeing ADP shift for sure. Elite tight ends are going higher. Quarterbacks are going higher. They're kind of going in bunches, you can tell that people are not going to leave without kind of an elite quarterback or two. So I'm up at 71 and 74. Be interested to see. I'm just going to keep an eye on Dak. I doubt he's going to make it back to me. And at 95. So I wonder if I do like a weird reach. But I want to look at running back since I haven't taken one yet. It's got at the top of the board, Kamara, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, Ramondre, and then we've got Keon Coleman, Chris Godwin, JSN, and then we've got Evan Ingram, Jake Ferguson. Ooh, I might do something. The guy in between me has two quarterbacks, so he's obviously not taking a quarterback. So I'm going to do, even though Dak is a reach, Ferguson really isn't much of a reach. So I'm going to take Ferguson, and then I'm just going to hammer running backs and Dak, and then I'm building out a big Dallas stack. So I'll have Dak, Lamb, Ferguson, and then I have Mahomes, Hollywood Brown. So I'm stacking up Chiefs and Dallas week 6, week 7 buys, so no overlap there. 4 receivers. So then this will be, once I grab Dak, this will be, excuse me, a 2-0-4-1. Again, I think this is what's fun about this. I think these do lead to different, this is definitely a different type of build than I do typically. I've talked about how some of my favorite builds in BBM are a 1-4-5 through the first 10 rounds, and I haven't touched a running back yet. So definitely got to hammer that, late round or zero RB strategy and make sure I hit some of our favorite zero RB targets off of fanspeak.com. So I'm grabbing Dak, and this is, again, not what I typically do in BBM. I typically am a 3 quarterback row. In this, I am going to be 2 quarterbacks, obviously Mahomes, Dak. So 2-0-4-1, Mahomes, Dak of my first 7 picks. Still got 4 by 7, which I know Hayden Wing says is successfully in BBM. You try to get 4 receivers by 7 rounds. So Mahomes, Dak, need to get running backs, Lamb, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Hollywood Brown, and Jake Ferguson. So yeah, this could be like a definitely 6 or 7 running back build. So let's pull over the board and then we will talk it through. So yeah, I did the whole Ferguson, Dak Prescott, and then it went Evan Ingram, Joe Burrow, Alex P. Keaton took Roma Dunze and JSN. So you have hammered receiver. You have gotten a absolutely solid receiver room. And so you've given yourself a lot of stacking options. So I certainly like that. King of Kings took Kyle Pitts, one of the elite tight ends, and Aaron Jones with his last 2 picks. I like that. So did you get any other Vikings? Okay. So you have some nice teams that you can stack up with here with, Detroit and you got guys from Vegas, Green Bay. Definitely have some nice Green Bay and then Green Bay Vikings. I get what you're doing there. I like it. Okay. So we answered a lot of questions in chat. And again, we are now in the 7th round, coming around the 7th, 8th turn. And yeah, as far as like the top quarterbacks do seem to be going a little earlier. I took Dak earlier. Burrow went in the 7th round, and Kyler went in the 7th round at pick 82 to start Kindler. So take a drink, and then I am going to need to queue up some running backs. That is for sure. But Alex P. Keaton, Frankie, let me know how you're feeling about your draft so far. I like what you're both doing. I can tell that Alex P. Keaton wanted to kind of hammer receivers and give himself some multiple options for different stacks. I like that. And then King of Kings going right back 5 and then the 6th spot. You definitely have some nice stacks with Green Bay, Detroit that you could potentially build, and Falcons. So, I love all those teams as playoff teams. So I like what both of you guys are doing. So I hope that 2 out of 3 of us win this pod. 2 out of 3 from the Fanspeak live draft here win this pod and make it out of here. So Okay, so then, so yeah, I talked about Kyler going at 82, went DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Watson, Jameson Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Zach Moss, Jonathan Brooks. So coming around in the 8th round, and I'm going to have to put my running back cap on to figure out the best running backs to take here to continue to build this out and feel good about it. Actually, check out Tyler and Andrew, excuse me, not Tyler, Andrew and Justin's show. I love all the guys at Fanspeak, and sometimes I say the wrong name. Andrew and Justin, their show last night, check it out on the channel. I believe it was episode 62. Before their live draft, they broke down, RB2s or late round running backs or zero RB targets, however you want to phrase it. They broke it all down and broke down all the different options that you could consider, and there are options that I'm going to have to consider. So, okay, so Jalen Ward, not Tony Pollard was one that I was hoping might be there. So I'm going to be up at 95 and 98. So, Najee Harris just went. I was going to say, if Felix is in chat or watches this, my God, Najee Harris fell to me. I'm so excited. I'm going to take James Conner. I just feel like that's a solid first running back for this situation. And then if Raheem Mostert falls back to me, I'm going to take him because that continues to stack the Dolphins, and he does. So I am going to take Raheem Mostert. So despite not touching running back until round 8, I still feel pretty good that I got James Conner and Raheem Mostert as my first 2. And obviously I'm going to build a quantity stable of running backs, but I'm glad I got those 2. James Conner, Arizona's schedule is nice. Well, they start in New England. That's not awesome at Carolina, but they end at week 17 at Raiders. But, some of those for running backs, if it's, well, actually, I think they have 2 don't. So I believe they are home versus New England, at Carolina, and at Rams. So yeah, they have 2 games indoors, which is nice. But yeah, I still believe in James Conner, just like I still believe in Najee Harris. And I was so hoping that Najee was going to fall all the way to me at 95, and he almost did. He went to pick 94. So Felix, when you watch this, I tried to get Najee. He got taken 1 pick before me. That's a bummer. Okay, no surprise, Jaden Daniels is off the board, and Caleb Williams is off the board. And King of Kings did what I thought he would do because he had Josh Jacobs and Jaden Reed. He got Jordan Love, and then he has Aaron Jones coming back on week 17. Again, all the weeks matter, 15 through 17, but he's got a little week 17 hammer with Aaron Jones. And so he's got a really nice Green Bay stack. So I like that a lot. And then he took Brock Bowers. So let's check this out. Okay, then it went, Caleb Williams. So in the 9th round, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, the 2 rookies went off the board. Then Khalil Shakir. I've been noticing Shakir going higher, and I know Steve's higher on Shakir than Curtis Samuel. I've been noticing Shakir has been moving up the board. Brock Purdy goes at 105. That's about around where he goes to the team that had Ayuk and the San Francisco, I believe San Francisco Rams play during the playoffs. So I like that. And then Romeo Doubs. And probably when I come around here in the 10th, 11th, if there's I'd like to get a 5th receiver, but I definitely might go 2 running backs if there's 2 that I really like, and definitely at least 1, because I definitely want to leave the first 11 rounds with at least three running backs here, even though I hammered the other positions, which again is a different lineup strategy, but this is a different tournament, and that's why we pivot our strategy. So, okay, so we Brock Purdy, Romeo Doubs, Curtis Samuel. Again, I mentioned he went after Khalil Shakir, which I'm noticing more of. Dallas Goedert went on the end, which I believe, and he took a 3rd running quarterback. We talked about spot 12, who took the 2 elite quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Hurts. He's trying to do a little quarterback quarter situation here. What's going on? No, he took Allen and Hurts, and you joked around that it became an 11-team draft. His first receiver was Ladd McConkey, Jordan Addison, Christian Watson, Jameson Williams, Dallas Goedert. So yeah, he did address other positions, but then he took a 3rd quarterback at 109, Trevor Lawrence, who I don't believe is stacked with anybody from the Jaguars. So it'll be interesting to see how that all lands. So if you thought that team was wild, it got wilder with the third quarterback after going back-to-back Hurts Allen. Both the Washington running backs then go off the board. I like them. I was hoping one of them would fall to me at 119. I know that was kind of wishful thinking, though. So, all right, let's see here. Let's see, Alex P. Keaton got some running backs for himself because he hammered receivers. So he's kind of in my position. He had hammered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 receivers and then got Jalen Warren and Trey Benson. So he's kind of doing like me a 0 RB build as well. And now kind of catching up on grabbing some running backs. Oh, King of Kings love the Jared Goff pick too. Jordan loved Jared Goff because you started with Amon-Ra. Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. Very nice. And I forget, Detroit does not play. No, it's Vikings Green Bay. Sorry. Okay. I'm up in one pick, so I need to figure out. And then Alex P. Keaton went Tajay Spears for a third running back. I'm going to look to do the same. Don't mind Mike Williams and Rashid Shaheed, so I'm just going to queue them up. Mike Williams just went. I'm on the clock. I like both Gus Edwards, Chase Brown. I could continue to stack. Okay, 11 and 6. You know what? I might go double running back here. I'm going to just grab another running back that I think is going to get a lot of volume since I waited, and that's Gus Edwards. And then none of those running backs have any bye week issues. Connor, Mostert, Gus Edwards. And then I think, because Shaheed went in between me. I was considering Shaheed to get my 5th receiver, but I'm going to go 4 running backs in a row here, and I'm going to stack up Dallas even more and grab the guy that probably grosses people out, but he's probably going to be the guy that's the goal line back, and that's Ezekiel Elliott. So, again, if it was a different format, I probably wouldn't be as interested, but in touchdown hunting underdog, half-point PPR, I still like Ezekiel Elliott. He actually, fun fact, was on my BBM3 finals team. So, and it was a massive Dallas stack, which is funny as a Washington fan. So maybe I'm trying to throw it back to that. I don't know. But no, I just think Dallas is a top offense. I think no matter what people think about Zeke being old and, all those things, they brought him back for a reason. And I think he's going to be kind of still the goal line guy. And the one that you are touchdown hunting with. I mean, think about the anytime touchdown market and Dallas games. I think CeeDee Lamb is like probably even money, but Ezekiel Elliott this year is probably going to be like week 1, I would guess, probably like plus 140 or something like that. I mean, he's going to be the most likely to get carries around the goal line. So I still like that. I do. I know it probably grosses people out though. Alex P. Keaton. I like the Herbert pick a lot. I assume you have some Chargers or are going to get Josh Palmer maybe, but I like the Herbert pick because I still honestly have, and that's what I've been doing on my 3 QB builds or my in BBM and my builds where I'm like taking a quarterback a little bit later to start. I'm doing Herbert as my first one because I still consider him in that elite tier. Yes, they might be run heavy, but he still is in that elite tier of quarterbacks and can still put up, I think has the potential to put up massive numbers. And hey, if they're more effective running the ball, he still may be in a position to just put up a lot of touchdowns this season. So I like Justin Herbert a lot, and I just think he's way, way, way undervalued. Okay, I took the 2 running backs. So I now have 4 running backs, Gus Edwards, then I went Shaheed, Matthew Stafford, Ezekiel Elliott, Tua, Chase Brown, Justin Herbert, Alex P. Keaton, Brandon Cooks. After he got Jared Goff, I like that, to King of Kings. And then it went Dalton Schultz, Tavian Wicks, Jacoby Myers, Jahan Dotson, Blake Corum, TJ Hawkinson, It's kind of early. Oh, wow. We've got 3 tight ends now. So Budweiser it got the 3 quarterbacks with Trevor Lawrence. He got Dallas Goedert before that. Then he went TJ Hawkinson, who I'm dropping because don't know when he's going to come back fully healthy, and Pat Freiermuth. So that's interesting. Then Kirk Cousins. So, Andrew, what's going on? How's it going? Team's looking good. I said that if at the top of the show that basically similar strategies to BBM for me, but much more focused on team correlation, the playoff schedules for the teams, those kind of things I talked about a lot as we waited. But I said you're going to lose your mind because I'm actually leaning more into 2 quarterbacks on this and 3 quarterbacks on BBM and other contests, because 3 quarterbacks, one of my main reasons is I want 3 quarterback stacks to push a team through, push it through to semifinals, push it through to the finals. And here, I'm not trying to push it through. I just want 2 high floor ceiling quarterbacks. So can you believe that, Andrew? I'm a 3 quarterback girl, but maybe going to be 2 quarterback in this. How about that? Love to hear it. Okay, so Alex P. Keaton said, quarterback is flat after the top QBs. My receivers will at least smoke 2 of the teams. Feel good at least being in the 10th spot. Okay, yeah, no, your receivers are insane. Sorry for the dog making noises. Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. And I love the Herbert pick. Okay, I'm on the clock. We fell to another range. I don't love these receivers. I don't mind Downs, but I don't like Leggett or Johnston. I do like Mooney. I mean, I like Parasol, the team he's on. I'm just going to get access in case he has a role by the playoffs. I don't love that as my 5th receiver, but since I'm only doing 2 quarterbacks, I might grab Mooney here and get access to the Atlanta offense. Because, yeah, I mean, I do love Ty Chandler. But since I did go 4 running backs in a row and I'll probably get 6, I have, let's see, 2, 4, 5, 1. I'd like to grab another receiver here. And I just like getting access to good offenses. And I think, yeah, I'm going to go Mooney here. Okay, so right now I'm working through 13 rounds, 2, 4, 6, 1. This probably is going to be either a 2, 6, 8, 2, or maybe even a 2, 7, 7. Yeah, I might even do 2, 7, 7, 2. So, or if a tight end falls that I really like, I do like that I started with Ferguson. So yeah, right now I have 2, 4, 6, 1. And this is a different type of build for me. I have Mahomes, Dak, obviously stacked up, Chiefs, Dallas, James Conner, Raheem Mostert, Gus Edwards, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Hollywood Brown, and Ricky Parasol, and Jake Ferguson. So I've stacked up Dallas at 4 different positions. I got a little Kansas City stack. I've got a mini running back receiver Dolphins stack. So I want to see what other team correlations I can find. So let me pull the board back over now that I know what I'm doing here. And after me, it did go Leggett. So I got Parasol and Mooney, just targeting teams I like, 49ers, Atlanta Falcons. And then after me, it went Leggett, Downs, Kamadi Vidal, Alex P. Keaton, Chargers, correlation like that, and Kendre Miller. So let me check out. Frankie says, love Downs is here. Yeah, I do too. I do. I was thinking about Downs. And I do like the Colts playoff schedule. I'm fine with it. I think, who did I take over Downs? Oh, yeah. The whole 49ers Falcons thing was kind of just jumping out to me. And since I didn't have Richardson, I just went with kind of the teams I liked more. But no, I like Downs this year too, to your point. Totally agree with you. Yeah, I think that's a good pick. Went to the man right before Alex P. Keaton's pick. Aaron Rodgers, he's been falling. He went to pick 152. I didn't think like guys like Ty Chandler or Jalen Wright would make it back to me once I took 2 receivers. So, but again, I'm going to take at least 6 running backs at the minimum. So no big deal. So then we, at the end of the round 13 here, went Polk, Jalen Wright, Luke Musgrave, Roman Wilson. Actually, I love all those picks. And then coming around the turn in the 14th here. So, okay, you did the right thing. You think I did the right thing just going attacking the teams that I liked, right? In Falcons and 49ers. Yeah, that's that. I'm going to really focus on which teams I'm hammering in this particular tournament. And just that's kind of me being a week 17 girl. It's just going to be focusing on just playoff schedules, teams on top offenses, and yeah, love both for the 49ers and the Falcons. All right, Baker Mayfield comes around, another quarterback off the board here. This particular person went late round quarterback, and if you're going late round quarterback, don't hate Kirk Cousins and Baker as your 2, and you'd probably want to get a 3rd in that case. And then Marvin Mims, Ben Sinnott. So I've got to figure out how I'm going to land this baby, and as far as how many. So I have, let's see, 5 picks left. Definitely want 2 more running backs. Probably it'll be 2 more running backs, 2 receivers, and 1 tight end. But if a really good tight end value falls, I wouldn't hate that, because I like my receiver room is Lamb, Evans, Waddle, Hollywood Brown, and then Parasol Mooney. So I got like 4 in the top 7, but then I waited. So I think I'd be fine with 7 or 8 in this one. So since I'm coming up soon, King of Kings just took Ray Davis. I love that pick. I do want to get a little more Ray Davis from just Bill's offense. Alex P. Keaton's on the clock. I might take Hunter Henry here, just another good, in case I only do 2 tight ends. Jake Ferguson's 14 and Jake Ferguson's week 7 and Henry's 14. So I don't mind that. And then let me see what I got here as far as other players. I like Corley. I'm going to be hurt by Bateman again, probably. And then running backs at the top of the board. I know the guys talked about Chuba Hubbard last night. I probably want to get another running back of one of these 2. Oh, damn, Henry went. Let me see if there's anybody at the top of the tight end board here. I may end up going 3 tight ends. Do I do Cade Otton because I have Mike Evans? That's again just team correlation. Yeah, I think I'm going to. I like Tampa's playoff schedule, so that way it gives me optionality. If I want to just go 2 tight ends, Ferguson Otton, I can. If a tight end that I really love falls to me, I can do that too. So now let's see when I'll be back up. So I'm coming around in the excuse me, my Cade Otton was my 14th round, 15th, 170. And then I'm on the clock now. I'll be up at 190, 194. Actually, there's probably some running backs I like there. I really do like Corley and Bateman in this situation. Again, 2 offenses I really like, and don't really have any bye week issues. I'm actually going to go Corley, the youngster. Maybe he breaks out by the playoffs. For the Jets. So I'm going to have to start queuing up later round running backs again. Check out Andrew and Justin's show from last night. They talked about RB2s. They talked about the 0 RB build and who you want to hammer. I know Andrew likes Roshan. I haven't touched him that much, but I would draft him. I like Damian Pierce. I know the guys have talked about him a lot. I used to take Keaton Mitchell, but now I don't know when he's coming back, but I'd be open to it. What I really like is Tank Bigsby. Open to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Don't really love the Alexander Madison, but I know he's like the RB2 there behind Zamir White. So, queue him up, but I don't love it. So I'm gonna have to get 2 running backs here. And I already had Chuba Hubbard. I'll queue Khalil Herbert, 2. I already had them queued. I could queue Elijah Mitchell, but you're really just banking on injury. And obviously we all hope that CMC stays healthy. I know people are in on Estime. I just don't know what to make of that Denver room. It's perplexing to me. So I queued up a crap load of running backs, and I just hope that 2 fall back to me at the next turn, because I am now working with a 2-4-7-2, and I want to get 2 running backs here next before it totally dries up. So, because my running backs, despite doing 0 RB and not starting to take running backs till pick 95, I got James Conner, Raheem Mostert, Gus Edwards, and Ezekiel Elliott. So that's good, but I definitely need 2 more here. And I'm still 14 picks away. So we will see how this shakes out. Maybe I should have taken 1 instead of Corley, but in case I decided to stick with 7 receivers, I wanted to get one last good one that I felt like really comfortable with. And I like that. Okay. Frankie's pumping me up earlier. He said you did the right thing. And then I got you go grow. I like that. Bindle's in chat. Good to see you, GM. Good to see you in here. Bindles, I got to get you on a Friends of Best Ball here too. Evan Hall, I need to cue him up. Yes, you are right. Thank you, Andrew. And Justice Hill, if you want to get different. Yeah. Still an option. I was queuing and I have some more to queue, some more options. Your guy, Rashawn, just went to the 12th spot, which has been very odd here. Let's look at what the 12th spot did. They took 2 running backs, 2 elite quarterbacks, Allen Hurts, then got a string of receivers, then took their first tight end, but then a third quarterback in Lawrence, 2 more tight ends, and then they addressing receiver and running back. So I guess that part's not crazy. Some of the stuff they did was interesting. So, but again, we're all going to have different strategies in this. I remember weekly winners drafts being the same way and eliminator drafts being the same way, being like, this is, we're not in Kansas anymore. This is not BBM streets anymore. This is different. And, everybody, because this is a new format, is going to approach it differently as far as like what strategies they lean into for it the most. And that's what makes these new contests so fun is we don't have data on it yet. We don't know. But we can try to make our best guesses as the best way to approach it. Again, I want to focus on my advance rate to get out of this pod. And I do hope 2 of the people in this FanSpeak chat are coming out of this pod. But I wanted the best advance rates in my pods. And then I want to be very team correlated and teams that I'm high on their offense and their playoff schedule. So I like this comment. Some have strategies and others have vibes. I like that. Yes, Andrew, 8:15. Hopefully this draft should be over in the next 10 minutes, and then I'll literally be jumping right on with Pat. So I feel bad. I was going to jump on with Pat a couple of minutes early, but it'll really be back to back here to jump on with Pat. But yes, I am Friends of Best Ball. We'll start at 8:15 or immediately after this draft ends. This draft took so long to fill. That's why I was like texting the FanSpeak crew, and I was like, can anybody jump in here? So I'm very grateful to Frankie and to Alex P. Keaton in the chat for jumping in with me and helping me fill this puppy up so that we could get this thing going. And then I'll be on Friends of Best Ball for BBM draft at 8:15 or when this finishes. Okay, I'm back on the clock. 191, 194. Let's see what running backs I have. Okay, so love Houston. I mean, I know he's the RB2, but Dameon Pierce at this pick is fine. Totally good with that. So then a lot of the guys that I wanted, I'll queue up some of the guys you guys mentioned because I agree with them. Where did Hall go? Oh, you talked about Justice Hill and then Evan Hall. Yeah, the Indy running back. So I am going to take my 6th running back here. And if Tank falls to me, it's going to be Tank Bigsby. I know I could do more Kansas City correlation. So that is, or do I do that? I was thinking Bigsby because I really am high that Bigsby could have more of a role this year. But in this particular format, I am just stacking teams. And let's say if Pacheco's out during the playoffs or just, in this particular format, stacking up teams is what I want to focus on. So you know what? I'm going to lean into that and I'm going to take CH. So there we go. So I have 2, 6, 7, 2 with one pick left at 215, and what it's probably going to be now is just best available. I will just probably take best running back, receiver, tight end available because I built it in a way that I'm comfortable now with the running back room, the receiver room, and the tight end room. And I did that purposefully so that then I could just take whoever I like best on the board. So let me bring over the board for you guys to look at as we finish this draft up. So again, I took Pierce, and when Elijah Mitchell, Greg Dulcich, I took CH for the Chiefs correlation. Then Tank Bigsby, who I was considering, went next. Noah Fant, Daniel Jones, Alex P. Keaton makes sense. Donta Foreman to King of Kings. I know the guys talked about him last night. And Audric Estime. So we are coming around, and I'm just going to take some best available value, best available with my last pick. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't hate a third tight end if, like, if you watch any of my shows or read my content, I'm high on Jatavian Sanders. Bryce Young just went, so maybe Jatavian Sanders goes. Wouldn't hate that because it's not like I got Ferguson in the 70s, so it's not like I spent like a top 3 or 4 pick, third or fourth round pick on a tight end. So, and then Kate Otten, I did that for more Tampa correlation as my second. So honestly, if one of my favorite tight ends late, and I do have multiple late round tight ends that I don't mind falls, I maybe would take them because I feel fine now with my running back and receiver room. So yeah, around the bend, Justin Fields, Garendo from San Francisco, Malik Washington, Russell Wilson. So this team, they took 2 quarterbacks with their last 2 picks, and then they had taken Baker. Okay, so they did a 4 quarterback build, but they took them all later. Kirk in the 12th, Baker in the 14th, and then their last 2 picks of quarterbacks. Oh, both Steelers quarterbacks. So they're taking the Steelers quarterback room. That's it. I get it. I think you can make, again, in these type of things, I think you can make a case for a lot of, different types of strategies. So, okay. So we still have these running backs on the board that are really actually intriguing. I also like Zay Jones, Tez Walker. If I want more Miami correlation, Beckham, he's old, but I like Slayton, but I don't like the Giants. And then let me see if my guy's still here. No, I think he went. Jatavian Sanders just went. Yeah. Did he go to the guy with Bryce Young? Probably. Let's see. So Jatavian Sanders went 208 to the guy who took Bryce Young. Yep. So I called that. I thought that might happen. And it went Chig. And I'm back on the board for my last pick. So none of my favorite tight ends fell back to me. So I'm fine with Jake Ferguson and Kate Otten, 2 different bye weeks. So it's Keaton Mitchell, Alexander Madison, Justice Hill, Evan Hall, Tez Walker. I'm just trying to see here. I don't really have any bye week issues at either that I'm really, Keaton Mitchell, if he is healthy, it's a top offense. He's explosive. Now, is he going to be as explosive as last year? I don't know. I mean, coming off that kind of injury, probably not. But if he offers, in the very last round, something in the playoffs, and this team makes the playoffs, and you gain access to the Ravens, I don't hate that. So Andrew knows this in chat. I never do a 2-7-7-2, like never. I'm a 3 quarterback girl. I'm usually very balanced, like 3-5-7-3. But in this one, I went total 0 RB, and I had to address more running backs. And in this, we talked about how I'm going to go more elite quarterbacks, elite 2 quarterback stacks in this for the better floor ceiling combos. Got Liam, so I knew I wanted to try to stack Dallas, and I did. So let me read my team, and then I'll quickly read the other teams, and then I do need to go because I am jumping on a show in minutes with Pat. So again, 2-7-7-2, very different from me. Mahomes, Dak Prescott, James Conner, Raheem Mostert, Gus Edwards, Ezekiel Elliott, Damian Pierce, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Keaton Mitchell, CeeDee Lamb, Mike Evans, Jalen Waddle, Hollywood Brown, Ricky Pearsall, Darnell Mooney, I'm probably murdering some of these names, Malachi Corley, and then Jake Ferguson, Kate Otten. I feel like the tight end room's a little weak, but I do feel like everything got built out. I got 4 receivers by round 7. Like the last year I got in Pearsall and Mooney, Corley, I think could be spike week upside guys. And then waited till pick 95, building a 0 RB, but like to have that room. I'm fine with. Obviously stacked the Chiefs and Cowboys at multiple positions, but then got multiple pieces from the Dolphins. And let's see, they get multiple Ravens, the Dolphins, the Buccaneers. That might be it. But then I stacked other teams, and then I grabbed pieces from other teams I like the Jets, like the Falcons, Baltimore, and then, like I said, the Bucs and Dolphins. So got a lot of teams. I said team level correlation is my number one thing. Let's quickly look at the other guys in our chat. So Alex P. Keaton did 2592. Okay, yeah, Star Kindler. We got the pound in chat. I promise you, I'm going to be with you in 5 minutes. I'm hurrying up here, and I can't wait to do our draft. But let me go through the other guys that were in the draft with me here. Thank you for hitting that like button, Star Kindler. I see you with that crawl pick. So Alex P. Keaton, 2592, Justin Herbert, Daniel Jones, then Jalen, he had a 0 RB because you'll see hammered receivers early. Jalen Warren, Trey Benson, Tajay Spears, Marshawn Lloyd, Kamadi Vidal, and then Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, Malik Neighbors, Christian Kirk, Roma Dunze, JSN, Troy Franklin, Javon Baker, DJ Shark, and then Kincaid and Conklin. So yeah, your receiver room crushes and is you definitely hammer receiver. And I like that your first quarterback is Herbert. I still would consider him in that like elite tier. Let's check out King of Kings at the 6th spot, 2682. So he did Jordan Love, Jared Goff. I saw that play out because I saw him get Amon-Ra and I saw him get Packers, and I knew where he was going, and I like it because I like those two teams a lot this season, and I like their playoff schedules. So Love, Goff, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Kendre Miller, Ray Davis, Chuba Hubbard, Donta Foreman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, Michael Pittman Jr., Jaden Reed, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, Michael Wilson, A.T. Perry, Kyle Pitts, and Brock Powers. A lot of the same thing. I see a lot of like team level correlations in this, and some run backs like Vegas, New Orleans, obviously stacked up the Packers, bringing back with Vikings. So yeah, I see what you're doing, and I like it. Team level correlations is key. And then who did we say, was there another one in chat? Star Kindler. I don't know if you were in our chat, or if just some of the folks in here know. Because Alex P. Keaton says, I see you with the crawl pick, and I'm assuming Alex P. Keaton says that your draft is sexy AF. That's hilarious, and yeah, love everybody's draft in here. And again, I hope a fan speak live drafter moves on in this pod. So let's take a quick look at Star Kindler before we get out of here. We have a 2682 here with Kyler Murray, Bo Nix, Travis Etienne, Joe Mixon, Zach Moss, Brian Robinson, Charbonnet, Jalen Wright, Marvin Harrison, Garrett Wilson, Brian Thomas, Romeo Doubs, Jahan Dotson, Marvin Mims, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen McMillan, Trey McBride, and Lucas Krull. So yeah, he was joking about the Krull pick, but he's got an elite tight end in Trey McBride. So obviously he stacked up both Kyler Murray and Bo Nix. So, I think correlation is king in this format. And this will not be our only sprint draft. We will also have, as I said, the marathon drafts. We will have the other guy, not me, because I'm actually wanting to learn. The other guys like Andrew and Spread and them are going to be covering weekly winners, eliminator. So we'll be covering all these other things in addition to our 4, Millie Maker BBMs every week. So, so anyways, Alex P. Keaton says, I saw you on another pod and subscribed immediately, refreshing voice in space. Keep it going. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being in chat. I appreciate you being in the draft with me. Thank you very much, and good luck. And thank you to keep joining me on these drafts. I'm here. We're here all the time. So no, I really appreciate you hearing that. And thank you for following and subscribing. And again, join the chat. We'll be here, like I said, 4 times a week, Tuesday through Friday. And then we'll be doing a lot of these other types of drafts. I had fun with the sprint draft. And again, we'll be doing plenty more of these and the other formats. So I have to jump off and get on with Pat and do a Friends of Best Ball. So if you want to just jump over to that link in a minute or two, we'll go live in a couple minutes. And it will be talking to Pat from the Fancy Dog Pound and then doing a live BBM draft. So join us there if you want to keep the party rolling. We will be there in a couple of minutes. So it's been a blast. We'll do this again soon. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.